Morning Central Baptist Church. We are in a different location for our morning service. I think you probably noticed that right off. Kind of got a wide open space here. You can see the background here is the Highway 51. Cars are going to be going back and forth. And so I'm holding my hard hat here because they want us to wear one. OSHA, anytime we're out here where there's construction occurring, they want you to wear a hard hat. So Brother Dad bought me a hard hat, and he said I probably didn't need it because my head was hard enough as it was. But anyway, I want you to enjoy. This is actually the platform spot, and pretty much where I'm standing right now is close to where the pulpit will be. It might be a little bit forward, but somewhere in this vicinity, and the choir being behind me. And so this is how it's going to be set up. We're on the west end of the building. So let me put my hat on, and hopefully I'll look about the same. How's that go right there? I look good in yellow. But anyway, I want you to see how the building looks here. So Brother Dab's going to get the camera, move it around as we pan around here. This is looking toward the north, and you can see some roads here. This is Mount Gilead Road on the north side. And of course, as you look around, you see the beams going up. It's a wood frame building. Later they'll put the metal on the sides and the metal roof. And there'll be a nice big steeple. You see a fellow right here. I'm not sure whether he's a crook or whether he's a good member or not, but I think he's going to be okay, so don't get fearful. So we have one member here that is going to be listening. We have the cameraman, and of course, as you move around, this is looking toward the south. And now, back over here to our member, this is Mr. John, and Mr. John here, he is here because he's gonna be the one that takes up the offering, and he's gonna run it by himself several times, and Brother Dab's gonna run by him several times. And there he is. He's putting it in right now. And now don't hide that because you can see the amount. We got to keep that amount here.
Okay. Here, let me turn that over like that.
There we go.
Now let me get the other members that aren't here.
Yes. And so he's moving around, and he's just wanting to kind of get the feel of how it's going to be when you're actually seated here. And he'll be helping with the offering from time to time.
Cough it up, Buster.
Yeah, I know. I gave it the office. But anyway, I wanted you to see that, and I wanted us to do the service from here because construction is happening. They'll begin, weather permitting, on Monday, and they'll be adding some wood to these beams, giving them some structural strength. And eventually, the trusses are somewhere, I think right over here, and they're going to be putting the trusses up using, I believe they have to get some kind of a crane in here to do that. But that'll go up, and boy, when that gets on there, it's going to really look like we've got some things going. So I want you to be excited. I want you to be in prayer. We have a building to sell. We have still a little money to raise. We still have a lot of work to do. But it's moving forward, and I'm excited. I know you are too. But let's be people who are praying about all of this, and God will bless. I'm really out of sync. I don't know if you are or not. My schedule, the changes this has required. It just seems like it's very hard to do the kind of ministry that I'm used to doing. You probably say your schedule is so out of whack. It's really kind of like we've almost went to a new normal, but I don't want you to get used to not coming to church. I want you to get that thought in your mind, boy, as soon as church starts, I'm going to be there the first Sunday that it opens up. And so I hope you have that thought in your mind. But I want to bring a message this morning. It's going to be entitled, Getting Ready. That's my title. Getting ready, being prepared, getting ready. And of course, that's what this is all about right here, is getting ready for ministry. We want to be able to be as effective for the Lord as we can. We believe this will make us more effective. And so we're getting ready for more ministry, even though there's a cost, even though there's an effort, even though there's, a price to pay. We believe it's the right thing to do, and God's in it. And so that's what this is all about. Now, the idea of getting ready has a really important backdrop to it in the scripture, because all through the Bible, God is telling us we need to be ready. We need to be in preparation. And here we have a passage I'm going to read from Hebrews 11, and it's talking about Noah. And of course, Noah was commissioned to build this ark, and he was getting prepared because a judgment was coming. And God told him about it, and so he, by faith, became very busy for the next whatever years it was in the building. And here's what we read. It says, by faith Noah, being warned of God of things not seen as yet. Excuse me. It says he moved with fear, prepared an ark, to the which he condemned the world, saving of his house, condemned the world, and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith. And so here we have Noah is busy in preparation because God has told him there's some things that are coming, and you got to start preparing now, because when it comes, you need to be ready. You think about it, the word being ready or being prepared really is just part of life, isn't it? We got to get ready to go to work. We got to get ready for when company comes. The lady wants to get the house all ready. You want to do whatever is your part. You know, we get ready for coming events. We get ready for a test. You know, people who are still in school, there's regular tests. You got to get ready. And then when you think about it, life is a test itself. You know, we're constantly being tested, our faith, what kind of Christianity are we going to have on display? And so all of it is a test in a sense, but not to be ready. Think about this with me. Not to be ready, it can leave you embarrassed if you're not ready. It can speak of a lot of disappointment if you're not ready for something and it comes on you and you're not just ready for it. It can even speak of disaster if you're not ready. It can bring defeat in a situation that you was hopeful that you would be able to be victorious or be successful. But if you're not ready, it can speak of defeat. It can even speak of destruction to a person, even to a church, if you're not ready and prepared for ministry, for events that are up and coming. You know, a business, they have to be prepared. And so preparation is a very important part of success. And we find here that Noah was preparing an ark, and the question really surfaced, what if he had not said in his heart, I'm going to believe God, I'm going to get busy, I'm going to be prepared. I tell you what, things would be a whole lot different right now if Noah had not believed God and by faith began to do what he said was necessary, because things were coming. And so preparation was very important. We find that all through the Bible we have illustrations of this, and I don't want to take a lot of time, but I have a lot of illustrations here. I may kind of weed through a few of those, but God told Israel to prepare themselves on that last 10th plague because the judgment that was going to fall was so significant and so important for them also to be ready. So God told them of the Passover lamb, the blood on the side of the doors and above, because of the death of the firstborn. And if they had not prepared for that, then even an Israelite would have had a loss in that household. Preparation, all we find all through the Bible. You know, God even says about the ant. There in Proverbs, it says they prepared their meat in the summer. And so preparation, even for the animal world, is required. We find that Rehoboam, which was Solomon's son, the fourth king of Israel, the Bible says this about him. It says he did evil because he prepared not his heart to seek the Lord. But then later we find another one of the kings down the roadway, the ninth king there in Jerusalem. The Bible says about him, his name was Jotham. And what it says there, it says about Jotham, it says Jotham became mighty because he prepared his way before the Lord his God. He became mighty. He prepared his heart. He prepared his spiritual life, and God could bless him, and he became mighty because he was wise enough to prepare. Hey, what was the ministry of John the Baptist? The Bible says to make a people prepared for the Lord.
Amen.
And then the ultimate, Jesus said, I go to prepare a place for you. You know, are we glad that he went to prepare a place for us? This life is pretty temporary, and it's like fine china. It's delicate. Even though we think we're tough and we're going to live maybe for years and years, and yet for a lot of people that does not happen. And so preparation is key and important. Now I want to look at a few areas here. I won't be long out here. It's a little windy. I'm not sure how well the sound is coming across here with the wind, but I want to give you some areas that I think is critical for us to be prepared in and for us to get our family prepared. Number one, we've got to prepare for death. I know that's kind of a subject that we don't talk about. Sometimes couples get older and they say, do you think we ought to go down to the funeral home and make pre-arrangements? What are they talking about? They realize that there is an end to life, and preparation is probably a wise thing to do even in that department. But we got to prepare for death. I mean literal physical death, because when death comes, you step out of your body, you leave this world, and according to this book right here, there's only one of two places you go. You either go to be with the Lord if you're prepared and you've been born into God's family, had your sins forgiven. That's what Jesus came to this world to do from the start, was to make preparation for us to go to that place He went to prepare. And so if you don't get prepared, if you don't get saved the Bible way, then you will not go to heaven. You'll go to that place of judgment. The Bible speaks about hell a lot of places. And so preparation for death is absolutely essential and critical. And if you have a loved one that's not ready, you got to be burdened about them. You got to be in prayer for them. If there's somebody who as they get older, and life is very tentative even at younger ages, we've got to be ready, certainly in this. I've said this at our church many times. If you don't go to heaven when you die, it'd been better to never have been born in the first place. And so that second birth is absolutely essential. That prepares you for death. But then there's another preparation that is important for God's people. And so I speak to Christians, and that is we need to be prepared for spirituality day by day by day. Amen. Now, most of us, when we get up, we usually go into the restroom, brush our teeth, get cleaned up, get our clothes laid out. Before we leave the house, we're prepared to meet the public. Well, whenever a Christian gets up, our spirituality is to be worn. And we're to prepare ourselves to glorify the Lord and to represent Christ in this world. We've got to prepare for our spiritual living day by day by day. Especially people have been pent up in their homes for days now. It seems like forever. And nerves maybe a little bit on edge. And the kids have tried you. Maybe a mate has been just a little edgy. Maybe there's been some tough going. Maybe things haven't went well. And you could blow up. You could look ugly. You could get on the fleshly side. But the Bible tells us we need to, when we wake up, to prepare ourselves for spiritual living day by day. That's why the prayer clause is essential. That's why connecting with God is essential, because He puts in us what allows us to demonstrate Christian living. And so we need to be prepared for death. We need to be prepared for spiritual day by day living. We also need to be prepared for spiritual battle. The Bible speaks about the fact that we are soldiers of the cross. And the Bible says to endure hardness as good soldiers of Jesus Christ. And the book of Ephesians tells us, it says, "Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and the power of His might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil." And it's a spiritual battle. Satan is on the prowl. He is looking whom he can consume. He is a tempter. And the demonic world, I'm not sure how many fallen angels fell, but the demonic world is battling against every person. And certainly the Christian is a target because we're representatives of the Lord. And we've got to put on our battle uniform. And the Bible speaks about those 6 pieces of armor, the armor of God. And we've got to prepare for battle, because He comes to battle against us even if we're not prepared. And if we're not prepared, we're going to get defeated. We're going to find that we're going to fail, and we're going to be embarrassed, and we're going to be sad in our heart that we've done what the devil wanted rather than what God wanted. We didn't stand up like we should have. We got to prepare for battle. But also, we need to prepare ourselves for the seeing and the seizing of opportunities God gives us to be able to be a witness, to be able to be a help to somebody, to be a voice for the Lord, to take a moment that is right there, an opportunity that God says, there it is, do something here that will represent me, Christianity, and will help somebody. And we've got to be able to be on the alert for that, to be aware and to see and seize opportunities that come our way.
Amen.
And I think all of us have opportunities that come our way to be able to represent Christianity to somebody, to speak to somebody about their need for salvation, to encourage somebody to get in church who's out of church, to help somebody who's discouraged and down and just having a tough go. And to see that as an opportunity to give a good word, to give a loving expression, and maybe a helping hand. And so that is very important. And then lastly, I want us to realize we need to be prepared for that ultimate end. And that is we stand before the judgment seat of Christ. The Bible says, for we all must stand before the judgment seat of Christ to receive the things that we have done in our body, whether they were good or whether they were bad. And we're going to have to stand there and give an account of how we lived our life. And that's why we're preparing day by day for spiritual battle, for spirituality, and for the Lord to use us in opportunities He presents before us. Because someday we're going to stand before the Lord as His servant, and we're going to have to give a reflection, see what comes before God and before us that represents our life and living. We're going to have to stand there, and the Lord is going to judge us for rewards or lack of rewards. It's not a heaven or hell kind of a judgment, but it's a reckoning, though, nevertheless. What kind of servant were we in this life? And the Bible speaks about it as the judgment seat of Christ. That's going to be some kind of an event. Some are going to be there with tears, regret, remorse, a lot of sorrow. And there'll be others there who will stand with a measure of, thank God I serve the Lord, and that I'm here now and is represented before Him, and I'm glad I prepared myself for Christian living after I got saved, and I stayed faithful. Well, here we are. Preparations being made for ministry to continue, I hope, in a big way.
Amen.
God bless all of us. Thank you for being a part of this morning service. Hey, John, thank you for taking up the offering, even though the only offering we got was yours. And sorry about this hat. It just kept kind of sliding. I need to get that thing adjusted back there. And of course, you never got a chance to see Brother Dab, but he's the cameraman, and he has his hat on too. Brother Dab, come walk around here and say hello to the folks. Everybody wants to see Brother Dab. I mean, everybody likes Brother Dab and the Dab family. So here he is right here, my good friend, fellow servant there in the church building. And so thank you, Brother Dab. Well, God bless you. You have a good Sunday afternoon, and we'll have a service tonight for the 6 o'clock service.